the aviation industry 10, 15 years ago was very crowded, especially in America. You had Delta Airlines,
US Air.
US Air, American Airlines. These were
Pan
large
Am.
behemoths, Pan Am. Now, essentially, these three executives who worked in different aviation fields got together and said, our mission statement is to build the biggest aviation fleet and company in America and in the world, possibly. So that was their mission statement. And the strategy was to work in reverse. They realized they're facing against guys who have dedicated fucking silos in airports, man, where you can't access it. These runways at this corner belongs to them. How do you compete against these guys? So they looked at the transport industry and they noticed there's Greyhound. Do you know the buses in America?
Of course.
They basically take buses that take you 8, 12 hours and they charge you anywhere from $70 to $100 per trip. So they said, why don't we target those customers? But then the question was, how? $100 is quite cheap. So it's like, okay, we'll reverse backwards. We won't charge them $100. We'll try and see if we can charge them $150.
Low cost model.
Low cost model.
Like Ryanair and these ones, right?
Ryan, Spirit.
Wait. So how do we get to that? All right. One of the first things we'll do is, within the crew, we'll reduce the crew. Because traditionally, you would have 3 stewardesses, 2 pilots. We'll basically reduce it to 2 stewardesses and divide the salary of 3 amongst 2 so then our staff doesn't unionize. Less staff, more salary. That's a way basically to increase output, all right? Another thing we'll do is we won't serve food on the airlines, right? Because we're going to do short duration flights.
You can buy it, though.
You can buy it though. We won't charge. Now, one of the main things we need to do is reduce the time between landing and taking off. Turnaround time. It was averaging...
We're experts, bro. We turn around an aircraft in 20 minutes.
All right, now listen. And there's a story where Jumbo Jet got that. We're going to reduce the runtime. And what does that mean? Normally, before you take off in a flight, you have your seat reserved. So you're in duty free, you're checking the price of fucking Blue Label, you're looking at the price of Rolexes, these guys are calling your name. Mr. Eric Mutiso, report to the front desk. They said, we'll remove all that shit. First come, first serve basis. If you don't come, you're delayed and you'll get the shit seat next to the toilet. So essentially, when a flight comes and they're ready to board, everyone is at the front waiting to board in. All right? That means they could turn around in 20 to 30 minutes. That means that same plane can do a flight extra, which is just pure profit, because the turnaround time is essentially much longer. So they implemented all these strategies and they started targeting low-cost markets. You know what airlines that is?
Ryanair.
No, this is...
Spirit.
It's going to be so dumb, I've just forgotten the name. Southwest.
Yeah.
Southwest Airlines essentially enable and they work backwards. Another thing they implemented, they said, is all our fleets will be one fleet. Because when you have multiple fleets, you need different engineers, different expertise, different pilots.
That's what you guys do.
That's the reason we have...
So
What is it, a fucker?
But check this.
Dash 8.
That's essentially why they're able to streamline that process. Because single aviation fleet, staff, everyone is just trained on this specific thing. And that they used all those models to essentially start what has now become the cheap airline services. And Air Indigo, Jumbo Jet, and all these people essentially formulated that business strategy from this airline.
So Southwest was the originator.
Yeah.
Mango, there used to be an airline in South Africa called
Yes.
Mango.
Yeah, and all of them essentially... so you imagine, this is what we learned at the university of how effective strategy, despite being in an industry which is surrounded by behemoths, there's always a gap in the market. if
You know,
can
years
identify.
ago, I was on...
And nowadays, travel, especially local travel, you guys are more concerned with efficiency, not comfort.
Yeah.
So provided the comfort is at a base level, like
Yeah.
level, like Sajid and I will get our extension seat belts for now, although him by now probably doesn't need it.
I don't think so anymore.
I still do. But it's a clean aircraft. It's a comfortable enough aircraft.
Clean.
Clean enough.
Sometimes.
Clean enough.
Yeah.
90% of the
Yeah,
time.
sometimes the toilets smell a bit.
But see, that toilet also is not there for, like yesterday, I'll give you a funny story. So we're boarding in Eldoret. Bro, it's the last flight of the day for me. Like our bathroom is at the front. This guy boards and takes a shit immediately. So I'm like, you guy, first of all, it's a 50-minute, 45-minute flight.
Hold that shit.
You're from the terminal, bro. You've been waiting. Why board? And then now take a dump. So when the cabin crew came and she was giving paper, she's like, Yani, and so it was not that Yamze or like a guy, older guy, young guy, like it's like a bucket list.
It's too much mursik.
Bucket list kind of thing. And then because the Q4 is a relatively smaller aircraft, so every time as soon as he opened that door, bro, into the flight deck,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
So like, just uncouth bad behavior. But are you more concerned with getting to Mombasa on time?
Yep.
Yes.
As opposed
Consistency
to
as opposed
being
to
served some
because
fucking...
it's 45 minutes, and that was their logic.
When I fly to Switzerland, I want comfort and all the benefits, and that's what Qatar gives you, even in economy. It's still different.
Yeah, Qatar is...
And you pay, even like for economy, you pay a lot, but you get great service.
Isn't Qatar going through the shit though?
Yeah.
all Middle Eastern carriers right now.
By the way, I have to tell you this. I've just booked. I'm going to see my kids I leave on the 17th of June.
Okay.
For 6-7 days. I got a flight return to Zurich, $781.
Fuck off.
I swear to God.
So
I swear to fucking God.
So I'll say this, What I've been
That's cheap.
That's nothing.
That's nothing.
What I've been hearing is, so there's a good friend of mine in Emirates, actually is my namesake. So when they got their 5-month bonus, I texted him like, "You lucky guys, you're getting a bonus now." So his correspondence was weird. It's like he's not, the way you used to talking to me, and if I start responding in a way that it's not how Eric communicates.
Stop being stupid, Eric.
So the guy was very like very short responses. So later I find out that first of all that bonus was given because morale was like at an all-time low. These guys are not being allowed to give the real picture of what's really happening there. So apparently what is being reported and what's really happening there
It's different.
is actually not congruent. So just be wary also if you're traveling.
Dubai is paying social media influencers to basically paint
No,
a different picture.
I don't. I mean, it's because of the war, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't, dude.
So
Whatever. Like, I'm still gonna take Qatar. You know what I mean? Whatever happens, happens. It's fine. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out just before you move on from this is talking about Greyhound. When I was in my sophomore year of college, so I must have been 19 or 20. I was, I was working 2 jobs. I wasn't getting any financial help from my parents. They
by
were
the way,
here.
can we please put up a Greyhound bus over here? They're fucking gorgeous
Yeah,
buses.
yeah, yeah.
They're beautiful.
So
I also have a story I'll tell
I
you.
used to
after
take
this.
Greyhound to go and see my friends. I was in Jacksonville. It's 3-hour Greyhound ride to go to Tampa or whatever. And I was invited to go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with some friends of mine who were living in Tampa. So I could drive my car, but I was like, fuck it. It was like $35 or something to go from Jacksonville to Tampa. So I get on this bus, right? And this, and I used to read High Times magazine. Do you know High Times magazine?
Yeah.
It's a weed magazine,
yeah.
right? It was very popular in the US. So I used to listen to High Times magazine. I had my fucking reggae shirt on. I was a big reggae head because I used to smoke a lot of weed in college. And so this woman sits next to me, a young girl. She must have been my age. And she's like, "Oh, I love High Times." Chatting. Then now we're talking, and she's like, she was this into my vibe, dude. Now they come on the intercom, and they're like, "This bus is going somewhere completely different." Dude, I was like, "Fuck Tampa, dude." I went to a place called Auburndale, Florida, the biggest hick town. Fuck this chick for like 3 days. My buddy's like, "You didn't they got me a ticket to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers American football NFL game." I'm like, "Guys, I'm sorry, but I need you to understand why I did what I did."
Fucking side quests.
One of my most harrowing claustrophobic moments was on a Greyhound. The equivalent in whatever it's called in South Africa, but same exact principle. I took a bus from Port Elizabeth to Johannesburg, 15-hour bus trip. Nani kama mimi.
15 hours.
Yeah, nani kama mimi. See, I had to have my Russian beer, 1 liter. I was with my Botswanan friend. And I remember him telling me, "Yo, it's a long bus trip. There's only 2 stops. 1 piss stop, which is literally bathroom. No shopping, not that you dash into the..." So, bro, I'm fucking alcoholic, so the bus trip starts, you get right from when we start moving, man, I start having my drink. By hour 4, bro, I was losing my mind because it was at night. Everyone's asleep. There's nowhere to go. There's no one stopping. There's no one to talk to.
And you needed to piss.
No, there's a bathroom. It's not about,
Okay.
It was just the mind fuck of, Like, what am I gonna do for all this time?
It's a bit.
I was, bro, I'm not tripped like
But
that.
just black out. You were drinking, right?